Alright, well, went to the bigger spoon. Wasn't getting, well, I was getting a lot of bites, but not any hookups. So then I just switched back and had a bunch of fish, still do, sitting down there. Figured I'd figure out what it was. Maybe with a smaller 4mm. Dropped it down and immediately hammered that bluegill. So must be a mix of fish just cruising the basin looking. I don't think there's that much deeper water out here. I don't recall in the past finding much deeper water. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, another dink bluegill. It's like a little male. There might be a little bit deeper water in here, but I think maybe 12, 13 might be about it. Driving up here, I did pass. City of Ankeny is where I'm at. I live here in town. On the way up here, I drove by 3 other ponds that all had multiple fishermen. Here's another bluegill. So guys are out, you know. Hopefully guys aren't staying tight-lipped on everything. Although I understand, because people hot spot, and I've had times where I've talked about a pond and come back and there was hardly any room to fish on them. But I tell you what, any community that you're in, the neighborhood retention ponds, especially, I knew a guy out in the western suburbs of Chicago when I lived out there, out in Naperville. He would watch the new neighborhoods, and he'd put in his back then it was his Palm Pilot. He'd put a reminder 5 years out to go back, and he was primarily a bass fisherman, and he would go back after 5 years, and it was amazing some of the fish that man caught just targeting those neighborhood retention ponds. And it was always on that 5-year point. And I know that they stocked a lot of those. I don't know how much of those were just stocked from birds, you know, wading birds and whatever, but or bucket stocks from interested parties in the neighborhood. But yeah, he was notorious for catching some big bass. Whoop, missed that guy. In those urban ponds. So, I mean, any of these newer subdivisions with these urban ponds, guys, they're just golden. And I'd be curious if anybody wants to shout out to me or give me send me a message on the post if you watch the video. But I see some of these where they'll put up signs all the way around them saying that you can't fish them or that they're private property. I'm curious, you know, especially if they have access from a public sidewalk or whatever, or public right-of-way, just what the legality is that on that. Because like out in Naperville, as long as you could cross to the pond off of public, the soccer moms could yell at you all they wanted to, and it was still legal that you could be on that ice or fishing that pond. Even the areas where they mowed behind their fence, they thought they owned that, but it wasn't. It was all public right-of-way. Be curious around here, you know, to know for sure. I do know, like I said, there are some that are posted no fishing or whatever. I don't know if that's HOA or something like that, trying to absolve liability, or even a city. I know Ames is really bad about signing public or retention ponds in neighborhoods. I don't know if that's a liability thing that they're trying to absolve liability, or exactly, you know, what that is. Kind of a, you're on your own if something happens or whatever. But you know, caught a handful of bluegill, you probably saw, obviously. But let's see what happens here. This guy seems to be a lot more timid now. That school seems to have moved on. Maybe something a little bit bigger will move in here.